حجا مبرورا وذنبا مغفورا وسعيا مشكورا لبيك الله.
Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Healthy Hajj. It's a program where we try to give you medical advice and some medical tips, trying to avoid any of the problems, of the medical problems that you might face during performing Hajj, to go back home safely, inshallah. In Mecca and Medina, of course, as you may all know, especially in summer, temperatures are extremely high and can get to be very intolerable, especially for those who come from countries which are not very hot and they're not ready to be accommodate the temperature. And knowing how to deal with high temperature might be a life-saving thing. If you might be exposed to too much heat, it could be endangering your life. So with us today is Dr. Khalid Zaid. He's a consultant of public health and occupational medicine. Dr. Khalid, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Dr. Ahmed, and thank you very much for having me on your show today. And I congratulate all our brothers and sisters who are going to Hajj this year. And I wish them from all my heart that they will come back home free of all illnesses, as well as from all sins. And may Allah accept their farida and to have a Hajj Mabrur Maqbool, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. Ameen ya Rab. So, Dr. Khalid, we were talking about getting disease because of the heat, exposure to heat, especially the high temperature in Mecca and Medina during pilgrimage, especially this year. It would be in June, inshallah. So, let me start by asking you about what is heat exhaustion, as we hear of it very often.
Well, to start with, as you have said, Dr. Ahmed, it is expected that the temperatures in Mecca and Medina might go up to 46 degrees centigrade or even higher.
Yes.
So there could be a very high probability that people there who are not accustomed to heat to have what's called heat exhaustion, and even though la qadar Allah, heat stroke, or what we know colloquially as sunstroke.
Okay.
So to start with, to explain what's heat exhaustion, it is caused by loss of water and salts from heavy sweating. It usually occurs during physical activity in hot environments. Well, when it comes with symptoms and signs. Some of them are early, some of them are late. The early symptoms are very heavy sweating, fatigue, thirst, muscle cramps, most probably in the legs or abdomen. And the late symptoms could be a cool, moist, pale, or clammy skin, weakness, dizziness, or even fainting. Sometimes even headache, nausea, or vomiting, even dark urine, and rapid shallow breathing and rapid faint pulse.
Yeah, so what's the difference between the term of heat exhaustion and what's more commonly known as the heat stroke? Is there a difference between both of them?
Well, Dr. Ahmed, as a matter of fact, yes, there is a great distinction between just mere heat exhaustion and heat stroke.
Okay.
Heat stroke, on the other hand, is a life-threatening medical emergency. In this case, body temperature may rise up above 40 degrees centigrade or 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And it occurs when the body is no longer able to regulate its temperature by the brain center called hypothalamus. And then it keeps rising and rising, and the body can no longer cool itself down. This can lead to detrimental effects: shock, brain damage, organ failure, and even death, like Allah. So whenever it happens, we call upon you that you always have these two numbers ready. The first is 112, which is for general emergency, or 997 for ambulance. I would rather have these shown on the screen if you can.
Yes, we will do.
So that people can memorize them.
Okay.
112 for general emergency, or 997 for ambulance.
That's very
The
important.
symptoms that the heat stroke comes with include all of these that we mentioned above, of heat exhaustion, in combination with very high body temperature and significant neurologic symptoms. It also shows no sweating, but fever and dry hard skin. Temperature may rise above 144 Fahrenheit or 40 degrees centigrade with fast heartbeat. There will be always some neurological symptoms like extreme confusion or altered level of consciousness, sometimes irrational behavior, seizure, or even unconsciousness or coma.
So heat stroke is more dangerous than heat exhaustion. It's life-threatening. So, Dr. Khalid, do you have any advice that you can give to our brothers and sisters performing Hajj about how to protect themselves from the heat illness?
Of course, and most of us should know this already. But the first step in preventing the heat illness is thinking ahead. So whenever you go out, you try to find out the temperature on the days you will go out in the sun and learn the early signs of heat illness that we mentioned previously. Second, you need to drink water often, even if you are not thirsty. You try to stay in shaded or air-conditioned area as much as possible.
Yes.
And if you are not already in ihram clothing in other days that you are not wearing ihram, try to wear loose-fitting, lightweight, and light-colored clothing in the hot weather.
Yes.
And always use an umbrella to block the sun. So in this time, you also avoid heavy physical activities outdoors as much as you can, especially during hours from noon to 4 p.m. Okay. And rest often and seek shade whenever possible. And be very careful to avoid overheating if you are taking medicine that impair heat regulation. These can be diuretics, anticholinergic agents for hypertension, psychotropic medication like antidepressants or antipsychotics, beta blockers, which are also for high blood pressure, and some allergy medication or antihistaminics. If you are overweight or if you are also obese. And be very careful of hot car or transport without air condition.
Very good. So if somebody gets the heat illness, sunstroke or heat stroke, how can they deal with that?
Well, Dr. Ahmed, there are preliminary measures of first aid that you can do it yourself or to people around you who get struck with heat stroke or with heat exhaustion. What you need to do is just to move the person to a cool area, elevate their legs 10 centimeters, 12 inches, and try to fan them. And apply cool wet cloths or cold compresses on the person's neck, inner thighs, or armpits. These are where the gate arteries are nearer to the skin, or even drench them with cold water if available. If they are alert, give water or electrolyte drinks such as Gatorade or something like it, if you can find it in Saudi Arabia. Or you can make a salted drink or something similar to oral rehydrating solutions, or ORS, if you don't have it.
Okay.
So you can make it by yourself by adding a teaspoon or 6 grams of salt per quart or 1 liter of water, and then give half a cup or 100 milliliter every 15 minutes to the patient.
Okay.
And cool water will do if you cannot make or you cannot find the oral rehydrating solution. If the patient have muscle cramps, you can give these beverages that we mentioned above and massage affected muscles gently but firmly until they relax. Okay. Then again, if the patient shows signs of shock, something like bluish lips or fingernails, or decreased alertness, or starts to having seizures, or lose unconsciousness, or become unresponsive, you call emergency right away. 112 or 997.
Yes. These are the red flags, as we call them, and they should not wait. They should go and seek serious medical help before any further deterioration of the person having this problem. Some of the pilgrims try to help those who would get the heat stroke and the sunstroke, and would do some of the measures that might be mistakenly given to them and might be hazardous to the pilgrims. Do you have any advice about that?
Well, Dr. Ahmed, yes, and yes, to both accounts. Some do things that are not favorable, and they get even more hazardous effect by doing so.
Exactly. Yes.
First of all, you should not ever give fever meds or antipyretics or analgesics like acetaminophen or paracetamol or aspirin to a patient with heat exhaustion. They will not help, and they may even be harmful. Also, some pharmacies sell what's called salt tablets, and people usually use them because they think they are good for this.
Yeah.
You should not take salt tablets without enough water.
Okay.
Also, if they show change of alertness or anything like this, don't ever give him caffeine or coffee. It will make it harder for the body to control its internal temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Also, some would rub alcohol swabs on the skin instead of cold water to decrease the temperature. It's wrong. Don't ever use alcohol rubs on the person's skin. Also, do not ever give anything by mouth, even salted drinks, if the patient is vomiting or unconscious.
Yeah. So,
and
yes.
Yeah, you call emergency ever, always.
Must call
if the person
numbers
loses consciousness at any time, if there is any change in the person, alertness, confusion, or seizure, if the person has a fever over 102 Fahrenheit or 38.9 degrees centigrade, or other symptoms of heat stroke are present, like rapid pulse, rapid breathing. If the person's condition does not improve or worsen despite treatment, again, call emergency numbers, 112 or 997.
112-997. Dr. Khalid Zayed, consultant of public health and occupational medicine. Thank you very much for all these valuable information you gave us, and thank you for being with us today. We hope that you would join us again to give us more information, helping our brothers and sisters in performing pilgrimage, inshallah. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much for joining us today. We wish you speedy return to home with all the health, inshallah, after performing hajj, and your hajj will be accepted in bi'idhnillah. Please do not forget to make dua for all of us here in Huda TV. Until next episode, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
حجا مبرورا وذنبا مغفورا وسعيا مشكورا لبيك